Hey, good afternoon, guys. You're tuning in to howtoplaystock.com. My name is Casey Kepley. Today is January 10th, 2018. In today's video, I wanted to cover a couple different stocks here on the stock market, along with Litecoin, just to give you an update as to what's going on in the price action and a couple trades that I'm possibly looking at getting into here soon. So we'll start off with Litecoin real quick. I drew out down here where my cursor is. This red line represents weekly support from the weekly chart. So if I go over here to the weekly chart, you can see I drew a line representing the support level on the weekly. And for this chart, I'm planning on actually doing a long-term trade on Litecoin, but I'm looking for an entry level, an entry point, and at the current moment, I've got highlighted here the peaks and troughs on the daily. So you can see we went from a lower trough here to a higher peak, a lower trough to a higher peak, and that was around December 19th of 2017. Then we dropped down to a lower trough and a lower peak. Okay, so we started having this downward trend, and then another higher trough. Okay, so we had a lower trough here and then a higher trough. And we had two consecutive lower, actually it was one lower peak. Uh, but it looks like it's starting to bounce around and maybe turn back upwards here, according to the daily chart, because we got a higher peak as opposed to this one over here. And we got a higher trough as well. And normally what happens when you get higher peaks and higher troughs is, if we follow this here, you get yourself an upward trend going. Okay, so this thing could it could turn downward some more. Now, if you look at the MACD chart here, we're already in a downward trend, and the RSI levels are around 51. So if the RSI levels turn back upwards a little bit, I believe the MACD should cross over, and it looks like the selling, as far as buy or sell orders, is starting to diminish here, and we got a bounce on this black candle bar here, which is representing the upward movement in price. We got a bounce off of that weekly support around 228 or 230. So I'm watching it very carefully right now to see what happens, because if we draw a support line starting back here and then draw it out, we're looking at the first level of support around 216. So if it breaks through that weekly support, I'm looking for it to hit around 216, and I'm going to wait for confirmation to see if it bounces off of that or if it drops farther down. Because if it drops farther down and we break through this 216 level, the next level of support that I'm looking at as far as price would be roughly around $145. So that would be the second level of support. So I'm just watching it right now. If this decides to head higher and we get another strong candlestick upwards, I'm gonna jump back in, because if you look and you follow the trend, we'll just get rid of these support levels here. It's like I say in some of my videos, the trend is your friend. So you want to go with the trend, and the weekly support and the upward trend. You can obviously see it right here where my cursor is, because again, we got back here, we had a lower trough and a lower peak, and then a higher trough and a higher peak, and now we got a higher trough, and I'm looking for this to go move upwards into a higher peak. So if we get a couple more of these upward candlesticks here in price action, I'm definitely jumping back in. I've already got some Litecoin that I purchased last week, got in around 255, so it dropped on me a little bit, not a whole lot. I'm not too concerned with that though, because this is a long-term trade for me. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm jumping in and I'm going to buy and hold all throughout 2018 on this, and then come back to it next year and see where the price is. The reason why I'm doing it this way and taking this approach is due to taxes. So if you're playing cryptos and you're doing short-term trades, you're going to pay ordinary income on any trades that you make throughout the year that are short term. So that'd be like buying Litecoin in 2018 and then selling Litecoin in 2018. So you're going to pay short-term taxes on that. Now, if you hold it, if you hodl until 2019, and let's say I sell and Litecoin's at like $1,000, I'm only going to pay 20% tax because it's considered a long-term trade. So that's my whole reason for buying and holding on Litecoin right now. Not to mention, all of 2017, I was trading in and out of Litecoin and Bitcoin. And to be honest with you, I've got 3 or 4 years of experience day trading already, and I've been playing some high volatile markets in the stock market that have to do with fear and greed over the years. And this is by far the fastest moving market I've ever traded. And what you end up finding, causes a big problem for you is that the prices move so fast when they go upwards, you end up getting left behind. Okay, and I'm not trying to get left behind on this trade because I got a substantial amount of money and I'm going heavy into Litecoin. I'll discuss in a future video more about Litecoin and where its development is headed. I shot a couple videos last week on Litecoin and its payment systems and its development, that's taking place right now. So you can go back and watch those if you haven't watched them. But that's for Litecoin right now. That's where we are. Again, I'm waiting to see if this drops, and it hits that first level of support that I drew out here. And we'll see around like 206 to probably $214. So if we get that candlestick dropping past that, then I'll look at the next level of support, which is around like 139 or 140, $45, give or take a few bucks. We'll go over to Grow now. Grow is another stock that you can look at. If let's say you don't feel comfortable playing with cryptocurrencies and you want a little bit of exposure to that, you can get into this stock called Grow. Ticker symbol is GROW, and they've got exposure into the crypto market, but it's a stock, so it's on the regular stockbrokers exchanges, and that's where you can go to buy this stock. Right now we're at $4.84. I did actually get into this a little too early, and it dropped on me, so I went ahead and got out with a minimal loss, and I'm just watching it for right now to see where it's going to go as far as the price. But if you look, I circled the peaks and troughs here. So we had a higher peak back here, and it was a higher peak compared to what we were seeing right back here where my cursor is. We had a higher peak, then we went over here to another higher peak and a lower trough, and then a higher peak, a higher trough, higher peak, higher trough, a higher peak, another higher trough. And then the reason why I got out of this trade is because I saw a lower peak. Okay, and anytime you get a lower peak as compared to the peak previous, so we were at a higher peak up here, then we had a lower peak. The reason why I got out is because we came down here to this kind of a equilibrium on the trough. So if I take a trend line and I just draw it across here, it's just above on this second trough. It's just above that line, but it's close enough to where I would call it more or less equal to this trough down here. And anytime you get an equilibrium like that on troughs, and you've got this right here, I got an arrow pointing to it, and you got this lower peak, you're looking at maybe a downward trend beginning to start. So you might have a reversal going here, as you can see, and it's going to head all the way down here in this direction. It hasn't done that yet because it's taken a bounce off of this weekly support line that I have going. And so right now I'm just watching it. If it heads higher and it shoots up this way, I may think about entering in on Grow. But first, I want to take you over to another stock that's setting up a little bit better than Grow. This is AG, First Majestic Silver Corporation. And you can see I've got right over here I got a lower trough, higher peak, a higher trough compared to this one over here, and then we've got a lower peak, okay, and then another, like I was saying, an equilibrium type trough that's playing out right here. So if I zoom in here, you see that line, that red line? They almost are equal as far as where those troughs take place. And then we got this candlestick going upwards here in price action, and we started out at 678 and we're going up to 698 right now. I'm just waiting to see where it closes out for the day, because if it closes out higher than 678 or 680, I'm going to jump in on this one. And I would probably imagine I'll take this trade over grow. So if we go back to grow, I would take that over this one right now, because again, on this one we had a lower peak, and if we go back to AG, we've got a lower peak as well. Alright, so they're kind of setting up real similar, but this one's dropped in price a lot more from its peak way back here in let's see, what was the date? Like August 10th. I mean, we were all the way up here to $19.26, and now we're down here to $6.92. So the thing I ask myself when I see things setting up in similar fashion, like you're seeing with AG and Grow, is, well, which one's more undervalued? And at this point, I would say AG is way more undervalued than Grow is. Grow could go, so we'll go back to Grow again. Grow could go back down from its peak up here of 749, and right now we've dropped down to 484. You know, it could go up to about $5, but look at where we came from. We came from all the way down here at $1.29. So we're not even close to that yet. There's still a lot more room that Grow could drop in price as opposed to AG. So I would take AG over Grow, just for the mere fact that I'm going to probably lose less money on AG if it turns against me. Again, you know, I've got stop losses in place too, but I just, you know, I look at all these different angles when I'm getting into a trade, or before I get into a trade, because I want to take the least amount of risk possible. Okay, and with this one, with AG, the price I don't think is going to drop as much and as quick as Grow, because Grow again is a little bit more volatile in price, and you can see that just looking at the charts here on the daily. I mean, it literally jumped from December 6th all the way to December 18th. It jumped like a little over $3 in price, and that's pretty good price action just within that short amount of time. So it's moving a lot faster than AG is, and at this point, again, to reduce risk, I would rather take a slower approach with AG and its setup compared to Grow. Now, if AG does not do what I think it's going to do as far as closing higher on that last candlestick, then I'll come back here to Grow and I'll look at Grow and see what that one's doing. But you have to be patient when you're playing these trades, guys, because, you know, if you get in too soon, and that's been one of my downfalls as a trader, you know, sometimes I can get in too soon, like I did here with Grow. And, you know, I was just looking at the weekly trend, and I was thinking, well, the trend's your friend, it's going to keep going up. Well, it didn't do that, and I bought in right around 525, and I sold as it was around 470, 468. So I didn't lose a whole lot, but I lost enough to where I was like, well, crap, you know, if we got this lower peak here and somewhat of an equilibrium, it could very likely bounce up here, you know, where you're seeing my cursor, and then turn around and start heading down. And if it starts doing that, I don't want to be in the trade, because, you know, then I'm stuck, and then I'm gonna miss out on an opportunity like what I'm seeing set up with AG. So I hope this helps with your trading, and, you know, stay tuned, because I'm going to shoot another video here shortly on market updates and what's going on, you know, with other assets within the stock market. But if you like what you're seeing, go ahead and hit that like button and share this with others as well, because it helps get the video out and it helps my rankings here on YouTube. So I'd greatly appreciate that if you just hit that like button, and stay tuned for more information. And remember, guys, income is the outcome. Okay, I'll talk to you later.